There was a ritual to it. Someone reached into the glove box and pulled it out. That folded paper the size of a pillowcase, accordion creased and soft at the corners from a dozen other trips. The smell hit you first. Ink and old paper and something faintly like the inside of every car you ever rode in as a kid. Unfolding it was an event. It never happened cleanly. One panel caught on the gear shift, another drooped over the dash, and before long the whole thing was up against the windshield while someone jabbed a finger at a line too thin to follow and said, "We're right here." Someone else said, "Just turn it around." The crease lines had their own geography. Roads you'd driven so many times the fold had gone white. Towns whose names you'd read out loud just to hear them. The map didn't just show you where to go, it showed you everything that was possible. You stopped when you needed to stop, not because an app told you to, because the tank was low and there was a sign leaning at the edge of a county road and someone inside knew every turn by heart. He didn't give you miles or minutes, he gave you landmarks. Follow the road past the co-op. When you see the grain elevator, you're about to miss your turn, so don't. And when the grain elevator appeared on the horizon, tall and bone-white against the sky, you slowed down. You made the turn. It was exactly right. His directions had the particular trust of someone who already knows where you'll end up. The two-lane roads had things to look at. Hay bales stacked in long rows, old barn roofs with painted advertisements for things nobody had made in 40 years, a hand-lettered sign offering sweet corn with a tin can for the money. Towns too small for the map, a grain elevator, a church, a diner, and then gone. You weren't making time, you were in it. The miles were slow in a way that felt full rather than empty. The window cracked, the radio fading in and out between stations. That was enough, more than enough.
Then you missed an exit, or took one you shouldn't have, and suddenly the road narrowed and the trees closed in, and nobody was entirely sure where you were. For a moment, someone said nothing. Then the road opened, and there was a lake you hadn't known existed, still and silver in the midday light, tucked behind birch trees like it had been waiting for you. You pulled over without discussing it. The air smelled like cold water and pine needles. A few miles further there was a peach stand, and then a valley that rolled out below a ridge you'd climbed without noticing. The wrong turn had its own agenda. It was taking you somewhere, just not the somewhere on the map. That lake, that valley, you still think about them. The plan didn't know what it was missing. You picked the diner because the parking lot had trucks. That was the whole system. The coffee came before you ordered it. The chalkboard listed 2 kinds of pie. You sat in a booth by the window, the vinyl cracked just right, the sugar dispenser a little sticky, and you sat there with your hands around a ceramic mug and felt, not happy exactly, but placed, like you were exactly where you were supposed to be, in a place you'd never been before and might never find again. You didn't rush. The trip could wait. When it was time to go, someone picked up the map and tried to fold it back. This never worked. It never worked once in the entire history of folded maps and people trying to fold them. You'd get it halfway, then it would hinge wrong. Someone would start laughing at the certainty of it, at the fact that you both knew it was going to end this way. Eventually, you'd stuff it in half wrong, lumpy and creased on the seat for the rest of the drive. That was how you knew the trip had been good. You got there. Not the way you planned, but you got there. And for a long time after, you had things to say about the trip that had nothing to do with the destination. The lake behind the birch trees, the grain elevator that meant turn here, the pie on the chalkboard, the map folded all wrong, riding on the seat like a souvenir. Some trips you remember for where you went. Those ones you remember for what happened in between. Getting a little lost together was quietly the whole point.